Hey family, Candra here with Candra All4Him Ministries, and I'm bringing you your weekly devotion. This week we're in Isaiah 40:31, the Passion Translation. And this says, "But those who wait for Yahweh's grace will experience divine strength. They will rise up on soaring wings and fly like eagles, run their race without growing weary, and walk through life without giving up." Hey, I got to go back to this because you need to capture this nugget. It says those who wait for Yahweh's grace, not run before, not run in our flesh, not make all the decisions without asking him, but those who wait in his grace. This is his promise he says, if you will wait for me, listen to my direction, listen for my promptings, obey me, is what he's trying to say. He's like, hey, this is way easier if you just rest in me, rest in my grace, and let's move in my grace rather than you running the race before God and getting ahead of him. This is the promises he says to you. I'm going to give you divine strength. What does that mean? I don't even know. But that means some amazing strength. How many of you need strength? Heller. Okay. It says that you will rise up on soaring wings and fly like an eagle. What does that mean? God's going to give you heavenly perspective. He's going to bring you to the high places so you can see the big picture. Sometimes when we're running so fast, we forget to slow down and ask Papa God, what are you doing in this situation? What are you doing in my life? What are we doing in this project? And so we work in our flesh and it becomes heavy and it becomes depleting because we're not running underneath his graces, where if he can bring us to a higher perspective and give us vision, and then he gives us the strategies on how to accomplish those things. That's beautiful. And strength in the midst of that. That means that you're not going to get weary and worn out. And, you know, one of the words I used to hate hearing in ministry is, I'm burned out. Well, if you're burned out, you're running in the flesh. You're not obeying this scripture where God's promise is that as you come under his grace and his timing, you will do way more than you can even fathom. And he says you will run this race without growing weary. That means you won't be burned out and tired. And then he says this, and you'll walk through life without giving up. How many times do you run ahead of God and you're like, I'm exhausted, I quit, I don't want to do this? Well, the enemy comes in and tries to create distraction. That's his joy. That's his plan. It is his joy too. But you know, the crazy thing about that is that when we're running and we're living under the grace of God, and we're running in tandem with the Lord, the enemy doesn't get to come in and create weariness because we're staying under Papa's covering. But when we're running in our flesh and doing things in our own tandem, what happens is weariness comes down and then the enemy comes in and he creates discouragement, doubt, and fear. And so I want to encourage you to go meditate on this scripture this week, because his promise is that you will soar, that you will not get tired, and that you will not give up. And in the midst of chaos all around you, I just want to pray that you will retreat into a bubble of God's presence and be focused and only consumed by him. You can do that a couple different ways. Sit in silence. All right, get rid of your phone, all those social media things. Sit in silence, soak in worship, and read his word. Use your prayer language, dialogue with him, talk with him, saturate yourself with him, and watch and see that your week won't be more full of strength, more full of joy, more full of peace, and more full, like you will become more confident as you run this race with the grace of God. All right, God bless. Have an amazing week.